Okay, so let's think about this for a sec. How does a machine really understand what we're saying? I don't just mean processing words. I mean actually getting the story, like who did what to whom. It honestly feels like magic. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that magic trick. And to do that, we're going to use this super simple sentence. The king ate the apple. Right? Seems totally straightforward to you and me. But for an AI, this thing is a fascinating little puzzle. So here's the real mystery we're diving into. How does the machine figure out it's the I am king doing the eating and the apple that's getting eaten? I mean, it's got to be more complicated than just reading the words from left to right, right? All right, so first things first, we have to see words the way an AI sees them. For the AI, a sentence isn't just, a string of letters. Nope. Each word gets turned into this really meaningful chunk, something we call an embedding. The best way to think about it is like a super detailed recipe for that word, packed with all its different flavors, meanings, and connections. But here's the catch. That leads to a pretty big problem. If you just line up those building blocks, the king ate the apple, all you've got is a list. That's not a story. See, the real meaning, the juicy part, it's not in the blocks themselves. It's all about the relationships between them. And that is the puzzle the AI has to crack. And this right here, this is the gap the AI has to jump across. It starts with just a simple lineup of words, but where it needs to get to is that deeper understanding, a really clear picture of who did the action and to what. So the million-dollar question is, how does it make that leap? Well, this is where our hero enters the stage. The solution is this incredibly clever, kind of brilliant process called the attention mechanism. And for our explainer, let's just call it a magic spotlight. It's basically the AI's secret weapon for figuring out how all these words are talking to each other. So what is this thing? It's exactly what it sounds like, a magic spotlight. Imagine the AI is looking at just one word. What it does is it shines the spotlight back on every other word in that sentence. It's basically hunting for clues, trying to figure out, okay, which of you guys is most important for me to understand what this word is doing here? All right, enough talk. Let's see this magic spotlight in action. We're going to see exactly how it works by zeroing in on the most important word in our sentence, the action. Okay, so let's start with the verb ate. To make sense of this word, the model asks itself a couple of really simple questions. First, who's doing the eating? And second, what's being eaten? And to get the answers, it sweeps that spotlight back across the whole sentence, looking for the words that fit the bill. So, why does the spotlight shine brightest on king and apple? Well, remember that recipe we talked about? The recipe for the word ate is looking for two key ingredients. A doer, someone or something that can actually perform an action, and something with, let's call it, food power, something that can be eaten. King checks the doer box. Apple checks the food power box. Perfect. The word the, on the other hand, it doesn't really add anything to the story of eating, so the spotlight on it is super dim. Now, this whole brightness thing, it's not just a cute metaphor. It's an actual number. It's called an attention score. And this score is literally a measurement of how important one word is to another in that exact context. So a high score, that means a brighter spotlight and a much stronger connection. And look, you can see it right here. If we chart out the brightness for the word ate, the scores for king and apple are way up there. They're obviously the most important clues. But the score for the, it's way down low, because it just doesn't add much to the whole eating situation. Okay, so that's how ate finds its buddies. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Now let's see how this whole thing scales up to connect the entire sentence and build the full picture. And this is the part that ties it all together, the really mind-blowing part. This spotlight process isn't just happening for the word ate. It's happening for every single word all at the same time. King is shining its spotlight, asking who or what is relevant to it. Apple is shining its spotlight. So what you end up with is this amazing, intricate web of connections, all calculated in an instant, that maps out the real story of the sentence. So let's just put a bow on this. The attention mechanism, this magic spotlight, is how the model figures out, on the fly, which words are the most important clues. It's the secret sauce that connects the who to the what and builds that rich, complete picture of a sentence's true meaning. Okay, so attention creates this powerful web connecting all the words. But that begs the next big question, doesn't it? What's the larger engine that takes this beautiful web and uses it to build a whole, coherent story? Well, That's a topic for another day. Thanks for diving in with us.